Hey everyone, I'm pleased to have with me two remarkable experts, honestly, Yulia and Laura. So I want to ask you today, how are you ladies?
We're good.
You're good? You're
Fine,
good?
fine, thank you.
So just before we start our chat and before we get deep into it, I just want to remind everyone here and our lovely audience online, guys, you can encourage you to engage with us through our live chat, ask question, feel free to ask our experts question. Maybe more question will come up with you guys when we start chatting. So let's start with Yulia first.
Thank you.
So, Yulia, I know that you're an education specialist, and I know that you work with the University of Turku. So maybe you can let us know more about your work there.
Yes, hello everyone. It's so nice to be here with you and see so many, even the youngest clients are very interested in what we are going to discuss. So my work at the University of Turku, I'm working with the SIMHE services, and SIMHE is the short form for Supporting Immigrants in Higher Education in Finland. So the idea of SIMHE services is to support immigrants who live in Finland with questions related to education and also building career. So all different sorts of questions like that.
Good. Amazing. Thank you so much. So let's move to Laura. So I checked actually today your impressive LinkedIn. That's an amazing profile, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And I know that basically your expertise lies in more of like human resources and inclusion. So would you mind tell us more about that?
Yes, so hi everyone. It's a pleasure also from my side to be here. I'm very honored to be here. But yeah, I studied human resources, and now I'm working in the field of recruitment. And our organization where I'm working, inclusion and diversity, is a high value that we work towards all the time. So I'm actually part of the Nordic IND team. So basically what we do is that we have different kind of initiatives to promote inclusion and diversity in the Nordics.
Nice, nice, amazing. So let's start our questions. Yeah, shall we?
With a great pleasure.
Yulia, we'll start with you first, as an education comes first. So my first question with you is basically, in your experience working with immigrants, what's the strategies have you found more effective in helping them adapt to the Finnish society and navigate the education and the employment landscape, most importantly?
Thank you, Asma. It's a very broad question. I believe that people are very different from each other, and everyone is unique. There's no one strategy which applies to everyone. But of course, there are probably, I would point to two main lines, which proves to be effective strategies, is to get to know how the Finnish system works. It might sound very broad, but actually it's a critically important thing to get to know not only the labor market, but how society functions. And the second main point is to learn Finnish language. As now I'm involved in work as education specialist, but before this job I worked as a language teacher, Finnish language teacher on integration course. Those courses which teach adult immigrants Finnish language and help them to find a path further. So I cannot, as a teacher of language, I cannot underestimate the meaning and importance of learning language. So these two strategies apply for everybody. And then each of you knows best what is good for you, and each of you knows probably very well what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and what are your dreams and goals. And then the strategy you build based on this, your values, what are you aim to do in this country. So I would phrase it like this, and does it sound too broad? We can specify something.
Yeah, yes, it is, but it's not at the same time, because like, as you said, like, you know, everyone knows what's the best for us. And then, you know, kind of like maybe they have a hint of like the route they want to take. And then here where actually your expertise comes in handy, where like, you know, you can show them how to move on with the direction they want to move in life, maybe. Yeah. So in the inclusion context, if we're talking about that. So what's the program that you just mentioned facilitate to the people who are seeking, or to the immigrants specifically, who are seeking higher education and employment in here? What are the services, resources that you provide immigrants with?
Thank you, Asma, for this question. I would try to not maybe go in too many details with what SIMHE is doing, but I would say that for those who are here, maybe it's not the most relevant services, because those of you who study at different schools, at University of Applied Science, or Åbo Academy, or Novia, or University of Turku, for you are available different services inside the school, and they are very good, and it's worth using them. But SIMHE probably is target group of SIMHE are those people who live in Finland, but who are outside of higher education. So those who think that it could help them to approach a career here, or those who come from home country with a degree and are looking for their job which will match this education. And that's the challenge. So for those people, all SIMHE services are entirely free of charge, and there is no any immigrant who lives in Finland has an access to SIMHE services. And everybody has a right for individual study and career guidance. That is like a consultation service, and it's free of charge, and everybody can book time and discuss it with one of me or my colleagues. What is the dream job, what is the goal, and how is it realistic to achieve it, and what to be done on this way. And together with that, we provide also different coaching for Finnish language proficiency tests and coaching for job searching as well in Finnish, emphasizing that it's important, even for those who are not yet proficient in Finnish language, they could practice searching for job in Finnish language, as it opens much more opportunities. So this type of things, and then there are events and different small short courses of language as well, which SIMHE provides. It is, I'm talking mostly about University of Turku, but SIMHE services work with 10 schools of Finland. So even if you are from another city, or those who watch us online, they could check that what is SIMHE service in the closest educational institution to the place they live, and access those.
Okay, so basically it's mainly that support environment. You provide them with all that, and if I understood correctly, it's kind of like, one-to-one kind of session with individual, and then after that, then you kind of like draw or map out the route, or the best route for that person, how to go. So it's kind of like, it's more of like an individual thing, not a collective thing for everyone. So each one is kind of like tailored to their expertise, education, background, and then their future dream or like job or what they want to do. Let me challenge you a bit. We did hear a lot about network, and honestly, I came in and go like, okay, if you want me to network, I'm going to network, but with whom? Like no one wants to talk to me. So do you provide something like a networking services there? And most importantly, do you provide something like bridging the gap? So I feel like, okay, networking is something important, but bridging the gap between these people after you hear them and draw for them like kind of like an individual, let's say, map or like, roadmap, maybe in a better way. Do you provide kind of like a bridging the gap between them and the, let's say, employers in the market that they are looking for similar things, educational program that they match their preferences or something like that?
Thank you. This is a challenging question indeed, no doubt. SIMHE services on a broad level trying to work a lot with different companies and find some ways for those exactly who search for the practicing place or for the job place. But there is a lot to be done in this field. So I would say more successfully it goes with education and with different educational programs. So yes, the clients of SIMHE, they find their programs who suit them well, and they get supplementary different studies of different kinds. So this journey succeeds, and it works very well. So if that's the challenge, we are ready to take it, and it works fine. We have a lot of networking with the university and different other schools, and also with vocational training. We wouldn't forget that part too. It's for some people who change career or who get frustrated on the way, then it takes too long to get to that level where they want to be. Sometimes they change their path and they are still happy with that choice. It's not always a bad shift.
Okay, talking about success stories, as you said now, and then, having that, you said, like, you did implement a lot of things that were success in the end. So is there any specific initiative during the program or within the program that have been created by the team, or if you could provide us, for example, things that you did that basically enhanced the international talents situation? And if you could maybe, I don't know if anything comes to your mind, but if you could provide us with like, some realistic of like, the achievement of your own initiative from that program that actually turned out, as you said now, it turned out to be good and effective. Nothing to your mind.
That sounds like a place. Oh, that's the question, Asma, kiitos.
Okay.
That's the tricky question indeed. I would say that I would emphasize that from those services of SIMHE, which I'm very proud of, and I'm not the one who created it, I'm only 9 months together with SIMHE, but I'm myself an international, and I used a lot of services which are similar to SIMHE before when on my journey in Finland. So I would say that our coaching for language proficiency tests in Finnish is very good initiative, because it's a free of charge and it helps people to practice for this test, which has a lot of mystical around that. It's very complicated, and I mean, Yuki test, everybody knows what it is. So that's the very interesting initiative. And then there is a good network which SIMHE started. We have even a Facebook group in SIMHE, and you're welcome to join it. And you might find interesting information, and you might also get the image of what is going on in this area, and what people with degree from home country or those who aim to get a degree here, what are they talking about and what other programs are available. So this networking is I think it's a very good progress in our work. As well as LinkedIn started about a month ago. It's very fresh and not yet so full of information, but I hope it will also provide a lot of knowledge. And also we have different projects which are maybe not so broad or not so big, but SIMHE also reacts to the current situation actively, and as well as last year we started, for example, the SIMHE Ukraine project, which helps Ukrainian refugees and provides different services to help them to adapt to the new country and to utilize in the maximum way their capacity and their degrees which they came with. So I would say there are a lot of going on. I think I mentioned few things. And about we wouldn't underestimate our career and study guidance. During this year, 2023, we already gave 200 individual sessions. So that's a good number for the University of Turku, and it's growing. This week I have few appointments still to go, so we are about to get more numbers by the end of the year. So those services and those initiatives, I think, are remarkable and easy to use, and hopefully will help other people who are interested in this.
Hopefully. So I still want to encourage our audience here and our online audience to ask any question you want from the experts, and we're definitely going to go and ask them. So now let's move to Laura. How are you? Good?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
you're
Thank
ready?
You. Yes, I'm ready. Let's go.
So Avanade is known for its commitment to inclusion and diversity. So how does the company actually create a welcoming environment to the international talent that comes in? What are the strategy that you put in as a human resources expert to include these people?
Yes, so basically everything starts already in the recruitment process. So we put a lot of attention on what's the language that we use in our job advertisements. And also we aim to form a diverse interview panel so that the people that is interviewed, they can feel some affinity or relate to a diverse panel of interviewers. Also, during the onboarding process, we introduced new joiners to our inclusion and diversity strategy and our values. And that's something that continues also after the onboarding. So we have our leadership involved in cascading these values and reminding that we are working towards these goals around these values. Another thing is that we have different kind of affinity groups internally. So basically, these affinity groups are formed they are like minority groups. So if there is someone that feels that they would like to join to that kind of group, they are always welcome, so that they can build this kind of like sense of belonging, like meeting similar people with similar backgrounds. And yeah, and of course, well, we have also the engagement team that is actively organizing different kind of social events, so that everyone that joins the company, they can meet their colleagues and also build these meaningful relationships in their work life.
Nice. That's actually amazing. It's good to know that it's different from Priyanka's experience, just getting a lot of emails with instructions and that's it. And then for a week she's not meeting anyone. Sorry, Priyanka, for that. So it's interesting because you mentioned, like, because it's like you said, we stress on the language that we speak, and then we put it in the advertising, and then we put it again. So actually, this takes me to my next question. In the landscape of, like, kind of like, we still find kind of a lot of, like, job advertising that requires, it's fine to require Finnish language, but they kind of like goes like, oh, it's a fluent Finnish or native language skills. And you go like, yo, even if I speak Finnish, I'm not going to be native, and I'm not going to be, like, excellent at it. It's going to be my second language, I'm going to still be an international. So what's your perspective as a human resource expert to that?
Yes, that's a very good question. I personally think that this is changing, and of course, in most of the cases where we see these Finnish language requirements in job advertising, I think that in most of the cases, the company hasn't really stopped to think, is it really needed to perform the job well? Or could this be performed also in English language? So I think that whenever the companies and the people involved in setting these requirements start thinking about these questions, then we're going to see a change. I personally have seen this happen. So whenever we have had this kind of discussions, then I've seen that these language requirements have disappeared from the job advertisements.
We have actually a question for you from the audience. So someone's asking, does putting a photo on your CV decreases the possibility to be invited for an interview? So are you with putting a photo or not putting a photo? I have my photo everywhere, I was like, ta-la-la-la.
Yeah, of course.
But are you with putting a photo or not on a CV? What do you think?
I think that, of course, having a photo in your CV, it shouldn't affect the possibility for you to get invited to an interview. But of course, as we know, there are like many initiatives in promoting this anonymous kind of recruitment, and this is because of a reason. So that's a sad thing that happens, that there might be discrimination in some cases. But I think that that shouldn't happen.
So what would your advice would be? Put your photo regardless of?
I think that you should.
You should.
Because if that company doesn't value as you are, then maybe you are not. It's not a good place for you, and they are not worth you. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much. Thank you, seriously. So another question, in the realm of talent acquisition, it's common to see recruiters facing a huge volume of and a bulk of, like, application just coming in. And I honestly heard some of them, like, just like, have these bulks and, like, deal with the rest. Other funny story was, like, a boss told his employee, like, take half of it, and we need only, we don't need any unlucky people in the company. So the people you picked are the lucky ones, and they can end up with us. So, is something like that still happens here? Is it actually still going on, as talking from an expert? And is there, like, strategies, behind it? Maybe we don't get it, or, like, it's just like, a lotto, Yes, that's a tricky question because, well, of course, the field that I work, which is IT, there is high competition in the market, but not from an employee perspective, but from an employer perspective. So I personally don't deal with a high volume of applications. What I do is I do headhunting. So basically, I go out there and look for talent, and I try to attract this talent. So I really don't deal with this high volume of applications.
Yes. Okay, that's nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights. We have one more question for Yulia. Someone's asking you from the audience. You talked a lot about the help to offer international learning Finnish. How do you support international learning Swedish? I'm not sure if this is applicable for you, but
it is a very good question for me. So because my family is speaking Swedish, I know a lot about Swedish-speaking world in this country. Happen to step in both worlds at the same time. So possibilities of learning Swedish is a great opportunity, but as competent would sound it, that you have to know also what does it mean to speak Swedish in Finland before you enter this. A lot of places offer integration courses in Swedish, so it's possible, but you have to know what's going on inside Swedish-speaking world and what kind of jobs and what kind of areas in Finland speaking Swedish. And yes, I think it might be a special sort of privilege to be able to speak Swedish. It will open up you a very specific market inside this country and also inside Sweden as well. But if we talk about Finland, I think it's a unique ability and it's underestimated, but still you have to know what kind of field you are aiming to benefit from learning Swedish. So you shouldn't start doing it without knowing what you are going to do.
Good point. A lot of people turn to go like, oh, it's easier. It's a bilingual country, so it's easier for me to learn. But it's a very good point.
It's a very common opinion, and it probably sounds naive, but I also think so, since I learned both languages when I came here. So I also find that Swedish, in a way, easier for those who speak English.
Yeah.
But still, there are a lot of special issues which come with this speaking Swedish world, which you have to know and be aware to use it as a benefit later.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Honestly, I really want to thank you, ladies, for this educative conversation. It's amazing to have you here as an expert and understand your perspective, point of view. Maybe, you know, a person who's like maybe outside still look at it like, oh, it's so hard to get in or it's so hard to understand. But it's amazing to know that such experts are there and it's like the game is changing and then people are advocating to do something more and then like, you know, to change these strategies and actually, as also Priyanka said, not just integrate, include, like, you know, literally practice the inclusion of it. This is something amazing. It was a pleasure chatting with you too. This is something awesome and it's like clearly my pleasure today. And we took a couple of questions. Maybe do we have time for one more question? Can I? Thank you so much. So how can we make a comment? Maybe this is for both of you, and then whoever feels like answering, go ahead. Okay. How can we make a communication, a good connection on LinkedIn with a human resource manager? Maybe it's more the word, Laura. Most of them does not accept connection requests and locked messages, and the messages basically is locked. So the message section is locked. So how can, basically they're asking how they can communicate with the human resources managers or an employee or persons in LinkedIn. What's your advice?
Yeah, well, of course, if they accept messages, that would be the first option. I personally do speak with people on LinkedIn. Of course, if they have blocked that, then you can just investigate their email, right? So usually it's name, surname, that name, that surname, and then @ and then the company email.
That's a hack, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's start stalking people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be an option. Of course, whenever there is a job post open, there is like written, like, hey, you can contact me within these hours, and here is my phone number. So I would use those time slots when they are available to be contacted.
I have seen this. This is a great reminder. So thank you again so much, ladies, for joining us today. It's been an honor to chat with you. And next up, people, we have a really interesting session with our alumni. Let's hear their success stories together. And let's welcome our alumni and Helia again to the stage. Thank you so much.